Although Nintendo fans are locked into April 2nd for the Switch 2 Direct, they tend to forget that although the Switch 1 may be on palliative care, it's not dead yet. Meaning we're still going to anticipate receiving games for the console still for quite some time. And while Nintendo hasn't outright confirmed it themselves, at the moment of me recording this at least, there's still plenty of reason to believe that there will be a Nintendo Direct in some form this week. A lot of people out there are just plain out assuming it's going to be a general Nintendo Direct, and I hope it is, but I do feel like there is reason to believe it might be different types of Direct, whether it be a partner showcase, a indie Direct, I don't know. So in this week's video, I feel like predicting what game announcements I think we'll be seeing this week, and I'll be firing in all three cylinders, whether it be first party, third party, and indie. To kick off the predictions, let's start with things that are harder to predict. Things like games coming from third parties. The sky really is the limit when it comes to third parties, but if I had to pick one that I really do think that might have a chance of coming over, I think it's going to be Sims 1 and Sims 2. Recently, EA re-released both the Legacy Collections for Sim 1 and Sim 2 on PC, where you can either buy Sims 1 Legacy Collection individually or Sims 2. They both come with all the DLC for their respective games, or you can buy them both together. The Switch currently has 0 sim games, and I really do feel like there's a huge audience of people out there that would genuinely love to have a Sims game. I personally don't see The Sims 4, the most recent Sims game, coming to Switch. I think it's just a bit too ambitious for the Switch itself, the Switch 1 at least, and I feel like this would be a very happy medium. Moving on to the indie scene, I think there's a very good chance we might get news for chapters 3 and 4 of Deltarune. On October 31st, 2024, Toby Fox, the creator of the game, said that Deltarune chapters 3 and 4 were slated to release in 2025. And if that's really the case, I do think there's a strong possibility we might be getting news very soon, maybe even in a Direct. Although this game is MIA, I feel obligated to predict it. Silksong is one of those games that just completely vanished from the public eye. I'm not quite convinced it is coming this week, but I mean, it has to come out eventually. But another part of me just kind of says, you know, the reason why it feels so unrealistic right now is because we've been waiting for it for so freaking long. But you could have said the same thing for when they announced Metroid Prime 4, and it didn't feel like it was time because we've been waiting for so long. Now let's look at what everybody's here for, the Nintendo stuff. Let's start by looking at a couple of games that I really think are going to happen. Starting off with a remake or remaster of a Kirby Planet Robobot from the 3DS. This first started once Nate the Hate mentioned it in his podcast that the game would be coming to the Switch eventually, so although that doesn't officially confirm it, he is a fairly reliable leaker. But if you need even more evidence, look at Nendroid. Although it could simply come down to a coincidence, they are currently restocking the Kirby Planet Robobot Nendroid figure, which would be kind of weird to just do out of the blue like this unless, you know, there's a reason why people might suddenly be interested in this figure. Also, Nintendo themselves is restocking the Kirby amiibo that is sitting on the little star, the Warp Star. And to me, all these things do kind of point in the direction that this is most likely going to be happening soon. The next game I think we're going to be hearing about soon is the game that fans are referring to as Fire Emblem Echoes Genealogy of the Holy War. This game would be a remake of Fire Emblem 4, because up until now, Intelligent Systems have been remaking their games in chronological order. Fire Emblem 3 was technically just a remake of Fire Emblem 1, Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia is a remake of Fire Emblem 2, so now we are at Fire Emblem 4, Genealogy of the Holy War. The last mainline Fire Emblem game we received was Fire Emblem Echoes, to which I personally loved, even though I do know a lot of people have conflicting opinions about it. But that game came out quite some time ago at this point, and I think we're due for a new Fire Emblem game. Plus, if you do look at Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia, it did come out at the very tail end of the Nintendo 3DS's life, and right now we're in a very similar situation with the Nintendo Switch, with the Switch 2 literally just being around the corner. So because of all that, I really wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo decided to announce this game now. Another game I wouldn't be shocked to hear Nintendo talk about is Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. After waiting so many years, the game was finally revealed in June last year. And although it didn't have an official release date, it did say it was going to be coming in 2025. So far, we know the game is going to be coming out this year, we just don't know when. I know there's people out there speculating that this game is going to be a cross-gen title and going to be a launch game with the Switch 2, but I really do feel like Nintendo is going to want to be very clear in the marketing of this game that the game is coming to Switch 1. And if we were to go with the rumors that, this is going to be a day one Switch 2 game as well, most people are expecting that the Switch 2 is going to be coming out in the first half of 2025, meaning we're going to be needing a release date for Metroid Prime 4 sooner rather than later. Now, you can call me crazy if you want, but I really do think as well that if it does happen, if they do decide to talk about Metroid Prime 4 and they do announce the release date, we are going to want an appetizer. And I think Nintendo is ready to offer it to us in the form of Metroid Prime 2 and 3 HD. I know these are just games that have been rumored for literally just so long at this point, but I really do think that they exist, and especially considering all the time and effort spent into creating Metroid Prime 4, Nintendo is going to want to leverage everything they can to make people interested in playing that game. So I personally don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that we could see this potential, Metroid Prime 2 and 3 HD be shadow dropped even at a Nintendo Direct. And then of course have a physical release of the game, the same thing they did with Metroid Prime 1 Remastered. And before I move on to the next prediction, I have a short message to say. If this is your first time here, hey, my name's Acadrien and I post weekly Nintendo videos just like this. So if that sounds like something you would enjoy, I would greatly appreciate it if you would simply consider to like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's go right back into the video. In my last set of predictions, these are games that I obviously do think have a chance of happening. If I didn't think they had a chance of happening, I wouldn't be mentioning them. But I do think the likelihood of these games happening right now are less so than the ones I've already mentioned. First off, something smaller is another game in NSO. It's never really crazy to believe that something else is going to be happening. I'm not saying a new system, I'm just saying a new game itself, you know what I mean? But I do think it's kind of odd if they do decide to add a new game during a Direct, considering they already added Wario Land the other day. Also, we're at a point where there's so many games on NSO, I can't even imagine what game it could be that they were adding, so I don't have anything specifically, just like I said, a game in the NSO service. The next game I'm predicting we might see is actually, for once, a new title. Not a remake, not a remaster, not a port, a new game. The game being Metroid 6, a brand new 2D Metroid game. Currently, there's a new rumor that's going around the Nintendo community that Mercury Steam is working on a new entry in the Metroid franchise. This all started because a leaker by the name of Nash Weedle, who is, semi-credible, said that Metroid 6 is in the works at Mercury Steam. The reason why some people are choosing to put credibility in this rumor is because Nash Weedle was the first person to leak Metroid Dread. So clearly, he has a source to people working with these games. And because of all of this, I do think that the game is a real game. I do think we will be seeing Metroid 6 someday. How soon, I don't know, but for now, I'll still put it in the predictions. Now, my next prediction is another one of those games that is been rumored for so long. But I genuinely believe that these games exist, so I'm going to predict it anyways. And those games are none other than The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD. It just makes so much incredible sense to bring these games to Switch. Because as we know, the Legend of Zelda series is heading in the open world direction, and seemingly they don't necessarily have any intentions of turning back to more linearity. So by simply porting two cherished Legend of Zelda games, it's literally killing two birds with one stone. First, Nintendo themselves already said that they're interested in having something Zelda related release every single year, and as far as I'm aware, there's nothing slated for 2025. Not only that, but they'll also get to feed off of the nostalgia the fans have for these games, considering not that many people had a Wii U, so most people didn't get to enjoy them, so the last time they played these games was most likely on the GameCube. To which the GameCube itself wasn't even that popular either, so there's like literally such a wide audience out there that probably has never played both of these games. But now with my predictions out of the way, here's where I turn the video back to you. If at the time you're watching this there isn't a direct announced, do you think there will be one? And if there is a direct that has been announced, what game do you think is going to be showcased? I would once again like to thank you for watching the video all the way to the end, and if you did enjoy this video, why not check out another one? For whatever reason, YouTube thinks that you'll enjoy this one, so try checking out that one next. And until next time, Warao.